तारे तारे पानी तेरा जावे तुरिया लाही बेड़ा हो अनंत अनंतर प्यास ओ प्यासा जी जुगन जुगंतर जा अजरज गुरु बरसा ओ प्यासा जी कैसी रजाई रात हो तारे तारे पानी तेरा ख्वाजा खिज़्र जी पाया फेरा हो अनंतर प्यास अनंत अनंतर प्यास अनंत अनंतर प्यास
गुरु जी जपो सतनाम 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 जी वाहेगुरु 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 जी जपो सतनाम 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 जी वाहेगुरु 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 सतनाम 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 जी गुरमुख नानक अराध्या सब आखो धन 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 गुर सोई
In Punjab, we come across very few large buildings. The buildings found are rather plain in architecture and lack elaborate decorations. This is because the political stability was missing, which is necessary for building activity. And what did get built was later destroyed by constant invasions. As I travelled through Punjab, I came across a number of lesser known and unprotected historic buildings. Religious structures like mosques, temples, churches and wayside shrines to structures that you associate with travel. I came to Sri Hargobindpur to list historic buildings in early 1998, and the first building that I was told about was Gurdwara Satkartaria. It was from here that I saw the three domes of the mosque. Having found a mosque associated with a Sikh guru, I began to look for historical documents that established this association. I found the Gurbilas Chhevi Patshai, a biography of Guru Har Gobind written by Bhai Mani Singh in the early 18th century. The narrative describes in detail the founding of the town after the second battle between the Mughal forces and the army of Guru Har Gobind. The document also talks about Vishwakarma, the Hindu deity of the builders and workers who built the mosque.
ਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਾਬਾ ਬੁੱਢਾ ਜੀ ਵੀ ਆ ਗਏ, ਇਹਦਾ ਸੇਵਾ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਆ। ਉਧਰੋਂ ਬਾਬਾ ਵਿਸ਼ਵਕਰਮਾ ਜੀ ਵੀ ਆ ਗਏ ਆ। ਉਹਨੇ ਦੇਵਤਾ ਦੇਹ ਨੂੰ ਤਿਆਗ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਵਾ। ਮਨੁੱਖ ਐਸੇ ਸਰੂਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਏ ਨੇ। ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਹੈ ਸਾਰੇ, ਪਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਇਹ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰੋ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਸੇਵਾ ਦਿਓ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੇਰਾ ਕੋਈ ਜਨਮ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਫਲਾ ਹੋ ਜੇ, ਮੈਂ ਜਮਪੁਰੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾ ਜਾਵਾਂ। ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਖੁਸ਼ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਆਖਿਆ ਫਿਰ ਨਗਰ ਬਣਾ, ਇੱਕ ਵਧੀਆ ਨਗਰ ਬਣਾ, ਮੰਦਰ ਬਣਾ, ਇੱਕ ਵਧੀਆ ਮਸਜਿਦ ਬਣਾ, ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨ ਖੁਸ਼ ਹੋ ਜਾਣ।
Myth is not history. I mean, on that we're very clear. The myth is not history. It is fictional, it is imaginative, it is fancy. But nevertheless, it is important for the historian to try and understand why a myth has been created in a particular fashion. And we find in many buildings of the so-called medieval period, that particularly in some of the mosques, where the masons put in an inscription invoking Vishwakarma and saying that, you know, they're carrying out this building in accordance with the tradition of what Vishwakarma has taught them. So I think that one shouldn't be at all surprised at that. It's obviously the deity of the patron of the building, who's anxious to prove that there was a celestial connection. And more than that, Vishwakarma is the patron of the builders themselves. So that this is really in some ways a very interesting document that puts together the wishes of the patron who wanted the city built and the builders who were building the city, and therefore Vishwakarma's presence becomes extremely important.
Historical events sometimes fracture the relationship of the community with a building. For instance, the Guru Ki Masjid lay abandoned after the partition of India in 1947. For over 2 decades it remained in a state of neglect and disrepair after the resident Muslim population had to flee overnight for Pakistan. It was in the late 1960s that the Taruna Dal sect of the Nihang Singhs put the Guru Granth Sahib inside the mosque and began to look after it. In the process, a new relationship emerged.
निहंगों ने जब देखा कि जो गुरुओं ने बनाई हुई है यानी यहाँ गंदगी पड़ती है, जानवर आके बैठते हैं, तो निहंगों ने फिर इसको आके साफ करके तो यहाँ पर कब्जा करके वहाँ गुरु ग्रंथ साहब का प्रकाश किया। लाउड स्पीकर वगैरह लग गए, लोगों को पता चल गया कि ये अब गुरुद्वारा बन गया है, तो लोगों ने जाना शुरू कर दिया। तो लोगों को मोहल्ले में तो आराम हो जाता है।
पंजाब में वक्फ का जो तजुर्बा है वो पूरे मुल्क के वक्फ के तजुर्बे से इन मानों में बहुत अलग है कि पंजाब में 1947 में जो हालात पैदा हुए उनमें ज़्यादातर मुतवल्ली जो कि मैनेजर होते हैं किसी भी वक्फ प्रॉपर्टी के, वो वहाँ से चले गए किसी महफूज मकाम की तलाश में और अपने पीछे छोड़ गए बहुत बड़ी जायदाद वक्फ की, जिसको कि एक अरसे तक देखने वाला कोई नहीं था। रिहैबिलिटेशन डिपार्टमेंट ने बहुत कोशिश की कि उनकी हिफाजत की जाए, लेकिन अब दूसरी आबादी का इन्फ्लक्स इतना था कि सारी चीज़ें उसके काबू से भी बाहर हो गई। ये पता नहीं था कि कौन सी जायदाद किस काम के लिए वक्फ की गई है और उसका मुतवल्ली कौन है।
As conservation architects, we are trained to examine the material fabric of the building. The emphasis is on the architecture, its special attributes like wall paintings and other forms of decorations and their physical decay. The objective becomes to repair the monument and prevent further deterioration from taking place. We often tend to ignore the communities in which these structures are located. We forget to ask, how have these buildings managed to survive without any state protection? Who are the caretakers and what is the relationship of the immediate community with these buildings? Several Islamic structures in Punjab were abandoned or put to use by people who arrived from across the border at the time of partition of India in 1947. However, some Islamic buildings continued to be held in great reverence. These are the shared sacred sites that we find in Punjab. In Masania before partition, the shrine of Baba Shah Badr Diwan, a Sufi saint, was looked after by the Sayyid family which lived in the village. When they left for Pakistan, they left the dargah in the care of a Christian family, the Massees. The Massees have been looking after the dargah ever since.
कई चुमदियां सिर दा ताज तेरा कई तरसदियां तेरियां जुत्तियां कई चुमदियां सिर दा ताज तेरा कई तरसदियां तेरियां जुत्तियां गुलाम फरीदा जिस ते मेहरबान होवे जन्नत वार दे
कोई गुरुद्वारा नहीं कोई मंदिर नहीं मसीत हुंदा भी मुसलमान ही होण जां गिरजे विच हुंदा साई जाण जां गुरुद्वारे जा भी मेरे सिख ही जाण इस दे एक धर्म स्थान इहो जिहा महाराज दा बाबे बदर शाह दीवान दा भी जिहदे उत्ते कुल दुनिया कोई मजहब नूं नहीं अपने नूं समझदा भी मैं फलाणे मजहब दा ढींगे मजहब दा दूजे मजहब दा हर बंदा ही इत्थे सेवा करदा ਜਦੋਂ ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨ ਤੇ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ ਬਣਿਆ ਤੇ ਉਦੋਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਾਪ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਪਨਾ ਕਰ ਗਏ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਚਿਰਾਗਵਤੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਗਾਓ ਤੇ ਉਦੋਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਸਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਨ ਉਹ ਬਣਿਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਉਧਰ ਹੀ ਕਿ ਬਾਬੇ ਬਦਰ ਸ਼ਾਹ ਦੀਵਾਨ ਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਉਸ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਅਸਲੀ ਮਨ ਆ ਉਹ ਉਧਰ ਹੀ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੀ ਚਲੋ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਚਨ ਹੀ ਆ ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬਾਬੇ ਬਦਰ ਸ਼ਾਹ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਉਹ ਮਨ ਉਧਰ ਹੀ ਬਣਿਆ ਕਿ ਉੱਥੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਸਵੇਰ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਹੀ ਉੱਠੀਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਜਾਣਾ
Usually, communities of people who have been kind of converted from lower castes, they're observing a mix of Hindu rituals. They may or may not go to the mosque. They may or may not pray. They don't know Arabic. They know the local language. And there's a complete sort of intermixture of the deities they worship and the rituals that they observe, particularly the rituals. In a sense, what your kind of monument and the community that you're dealing with here is telling you is, please look at the religion differently and look at it not as Islam, Hinduism, Sikhism, but look at it as a religion of the less privileged people where the merging and the mixing was very great.
The Archaeological Survey of India protects historic buildings in India which are classified as being of national importance. For instance, buildings associated with Mughal history like the Dakhni Sarai near Jalandhar, which was built by the Mughal Emperor Jahangir. The State Department of Archaeology in Punjab protects buildings of regional importance. Some of these are the Summer Palace of Maharaja Ranjit Singh in Amritsar, the Moorish Mosque in Kapurthala. It is ironical to find situations like in the case of Sarai Amanat Khan, which has been protected by the ASI, but in close proximity, a water tank built by Guru Arjan Dev, the 5th Sikh Guru, is not protected either by the ASI or the Punjab state. A range of historic buildings continue to exist till date, even without any state protection, all in an urgent need for conservation. Some of these buildings are owned by private individuals, but a large number are owned by various organizations and government departments, and some others are with religious trusts.
India's constitution is a unique document to protect all of India's history and culture without fear or favor. But the constitution is not self-fulfilling. It requires legislation. It is unfortunate that in the area of the preservation of monuments, we have an old imperial legislation passed in 1904. This imperial legislation followed a pick and choose model. The priority that is given to monuments of national importance. But India's history and India's culture is not just those monuments which are declared to be of national importance. Such a statist view cannot be taken of culture.
In the conventional process of conservation as undertaken by the ASI, the building is repaired, a boundary wall is constructed, and a blue board is placed notifying the visitor that this is a protected monument. The building is treated as an artifact.
If you find a ruin, you stabilize the ruin. Now that is what the ASI does, and it does well because it has got 100 years of experience of conserving monuments in the way they found it. So I think the ASI is a venerable institution that does very good work, but it's a system of conserving that is distinctly European. So I wouldn't put it as a quarrel, but the difference of opinion between the ASI and the traditional way of conserving is that the traditional way would perhaps rebuild a ruin, would perhaps reuse a building, which the ASI would never permit.
Earliest form of the temple design is a single chamber temple, which was around the 2nd century AD, and to the chamber the second element that got introduced was a porch. And as the rituals kind of developed, till about the 12th century we see the Bhog Mandap, the Nritya Mandap that got introduced, and it was towards the 15th century when the courtyard got introduced, because that became the space for congregation. And in Krishan Mandir here in Kishan Court you do see this courtyard, which is enclosed by verandas on 3 sides, and on the 4th side you have the the Garbhagriha with the parikrama around it. The temple houses some of the finest wall paintings from the Kangra tradition and the Sikh school of art. The wall paintings cover a surface area of over 3,000 square feet, which are found inside rooms, verandas and the walls enclosing the courtyard. They embody the bhakti spirit of the land and depict several themes ranging from the classical to the vernacular. For instance, the principal panels of the Garbhagriha or the Sanctum Sanctorum illustrate the life of Krishna. Panels of the verandas illustrate among others Sukhdev Swami, Raja Janak and Lord Jagannath. In one chamber there are portraits of the 10 Sikh Gurus, Kabir and Maharaja Ranjit Singh.
This painting actually depicts the evening scene, dusk, when Krishna has come back with the cows after grazing them in the pastures. It's the hour of Gauduli, as it is called. And as soon as he comes into the house, he runs to his parents, Nanda and Yashoda, and clings to them. As he comes in, a group of women comes complaining to Nand that the son has, Krishna has broken a lot of milk pots, and that makes Nand angry. And as he is angry and trying to ask Krishna, why have you done this, what have you done, Yashoda intervenes on behalf of Krishna and says that, look at my son, he's so innocent, how could he do it? It's not possible that he has done it. This painting is very, very poignant in its depiction, in the expressions of Nanda, in the expression of Yashoda, the way the Balram and Krishna are clinging to their parents, the pots, broken pots that the gopis are trying to show as evidence of what he has done in this. And the artist is very, very subtle. He's catching a particular moment in time, and everything is freeze-framed in it. It gives an insight into the psychological moment, into the minds of Yashoda, Nand and the gopis.
The Mansar is an ancient Indian text on architecture and town planning. The artisans of the past were familiar with the text and applied its principles in design and construction, especially in temple building. With the coming of Islam, new systems of construction got introduced, like the arch and the dome. With the coming in of the British, the role of the artisan got reduced to just working with the hands. The planning and design was the engineer's area of work. In early 20th century, new materials like cement and steel were introduced, which further eroded the knowledge and skills of the craftsmen in the use of traditional materials and systems, for instance, in the use of lime.
There was a very comfortable equation between the craftsman, the community and the monument. Colonialism broke this relationship. The monument got separated. The craftsman got separated, the community got separated. So the problem of conservation today in India is how can we bring it all together?
The restoration process harnessed everyday skills of the people. As the layers of dust that had gathered over time were being removed, the relationship between the temple and the community began to surface gradually.
We generally tend to get the impression that people have no relationship with these buildings. They have no respect for the ancient heritage. Buildings become historical because of their association with people. If that link is severed, then buildings are mere physical structures. These buildings are live buildings. Because this building is full of meanings, that people are very scared to touch it. They are afraid that the moment you touch these buildings, memories of the past are going to be awakened. Ghosts from the past are going to be recreated.
The Thakurs of the village had Jagirdari rights over several villages. In Kishankot, they held court to settle disputes. The interaction with the people from the village were restricted. The Krishna temple was not accessible to the people of the village except on festivals.
ਲੇਡੀਜ਼ ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੀਤਾ ਮੰਦਿਰ ਦੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਸ਼ਰਮੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੀ ਪੰਡਤ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਘੱਟ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਣ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਇਹਦਾ ਟੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਅੰਦਰਲੇ ਸਰਕਾਰੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰਾਜੇ ਸੀਗੇ
ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਨਿਕਲਣਾ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੰਜ ਕੰਮ ਕੇ ਮੋਢੇ ਇੰਜ ਖੋਤੇ ਹੋਣਾ ਲਿਆਣਾ ਨੇ ਲਿਆਣਾ ਵੱਡਾ ਲੋਕੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਦੁਕਾਨ 'ਚ ਕੋਈ ਬਹਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦਾ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਖੜੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀ
After partition, the Thakurs continued to be the Jagirdars of Kishankot for over 4 decades. The Thakurs left Kishankot in 1984 after terrorists gunned down a local resident on the main street.
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਘਰ 10-12 ਬਾਹਮਣਾ ਖੱਤਰੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਦੜਾਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਭਤੀਜੇ ਦੇ ਮੂੰਹ 'ਚ ਗੋਲੀ ਮਾਰਤੀ ਸੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਬਸ ਉੱਥੇ ਭੱਜ ਗਏ ਫਿਰ ਮਾਰਿਆ ਦੁਕਾਨ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਭਤੀਜਾ ਸੀਗਾ
The years of militancy saw the Krishna temple being transformed from a place of worship to a police post. The sanctity of the temple was violated. Nails were pegged onto the paintings to hang clothes, and the paintings suffered damage.
In India, we should not forget that kings and feudal lords have come and gone, and each one of them makes a set of buildings with some intention in mind. But once they have gone, then the life of the building and the life of the community that lives around these buildings, in most cases, begins to develop independently of what the original builders wanted it to be. Now, one would say that it is this relationship that defines a building culturally and historically also. There is an ethnography of a building. There is a life of a building which is there in the minds of the people, which should and which we have tried to make as the baseline for all conservation and restoration work that we have done.
मेरा भी शौक था ये काम करने का तो मैंने फिर सर के पास उसी दिन से इनके साथ काम करना शुरू कर दिया मैंने फिर बाद में इनके साथ धीरे धीरे काम करता रहा तो फिर पहले कुछ केमिकल वहाँ स्टोर से ले आकर सर को फड़ाएंगे ये जो जो चाहिए फिर बाद में धीरे धीरे सीखते सीखते गए फिर लाइन उतारने का काम शुरू हो गया फिर आगे आगे अभी और भी सीखेंगे अभी तो सीख रहे हैं ना बस फिलहाल लाइन में उतार सकते हैं अभी की पेंटिंग में काम तो नहीं कर सकते जैसे पुराना इतिहास बच जाएगा फिर जितनी पुरानी इमारतों पे कितनी भी पुरानी यादें हैं बुजुर्गों की वो बच जाएंगी तो अच्छा ही लगेगा ना
We soon came to be known as the Mandirwali team. As the conservation of the Krishna temple was nearing completion, work started at the Guru Ki Masjid. Conservation of the mosque began with the roof. Vegetation and debris were removed from the site by voluntary labour by the entire community, which included the Nihangs, local school children and residents of the villages in the region. The building was allowed to dry, and as the layers of limewash were taken away, beautiful paintings emerged. The work had barely begun and we found ourselves in the middle of a controversy about the status of the building. Interest in the site had spread beyond the walls of Sri Hargobindpur. A police inquiry was initiated due to a report filed with the Human Rights Commission. It was alleged that the masjid was being turned into a gurdwara.
ਮਾੜੀ ਹਾਲਾਤ ਨੂੰ
कि मसीत दी हालत काफ़ी खस्ता होने करके
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਇਸ ਦੀ ਟੁੱਟ ਭੱਜ ਨੂੰ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਹੀ ਮਟੀਰੀਅਲ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ
ਪੁਰਾਣਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਨਾਨਕਸ਼ਾਹੀ ਇੱਟ ਤੇ ਚੂਨੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹਾਂ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੁਰਾਣਾ ਸਮਝ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਠੀਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ
गुरु साहब ने मुसलमानों को
ਬਣਾ ਕੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਪ੍ਰਕਾਰ ਦੀ ਠੇਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਈ ਜਾਵੇਗੀ ਤੇ ਨਾ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਉਣ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਊਗੀ
Meanwhile, in many places in Punjab, the population is gradually changing. After many long years of absence, Muslims are returning to the region. In Masania, a Maulvi from Jammu has taken up residence at the Dargah and is running a madrasa for the children of the Gujjar community.
हमारे बाप दादे का काम था माल मवेशी का काम, तो वैसे होते होते ऐसे ही घूमते फिरते यहाँ पर फिर हमारे मस्जिद का प्रोग्राम हो गया। बच्चों की पढ़ाई के लिए यहाँ पर तो नमाज भी होती है और बच्चे भी पढ़ते हैं। एक यही मस्जिद नहीं, हमारी 3-4 मस्जिदें मतलब 1999 में ये आबाद हुई। एक इधर बटाला से उधर आगे है, एक गुरदासपुर में है, एक इधर है डेरी हाल में है, एक ये 4 मस्जिदें। हमारे आसपास में काफ़ी पिंड हैं, हर पिंड में 2-2, 4-4 डेरे गुजरों के होते हैं। तो जो दौर के बच्चे होते हैं वो यहाँ पर बैठते हैं, उनके लिए यहाँ पर रोटी का प्रोग्राम भी होता है और रिहाइश का प्रोग्राम भी होता है। तो जो नज़दीक के बच्चे वो शाम को 4 बजे छुट्टी के बाद चले जाते हैं घर में। हाँ।
ये तो गुज्जर लोग ने, मुसलमान थोड़े ने, कोई नमाज नहीं दी, उन्होंने एक बहाना बनाया वा जादू टूना चलता है। इत्थे मसीत वक्री बनाई है, दरबार आ, तो ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੋਈ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਮਜ਼ਹਬ ਦਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਆ ਜਾਏ ਹਨੇਰੇ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਰਾਤ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪੈ ਜਾਏ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਜਾਣ ਜੋਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਗੁਜ਼ਾਰੀ ਕਰੇ। पर इन्हें तो कब्जे तौर बना लिया, क्यों जी?
वहाँ बहुत अरसे से जम्मू से गुजर आते रहे, मुसलमान गुजर अपने जानवरों के साथ, और वहाँ के ज़मींदार उनको अपनी ज़मीनों पर ठहराते थे इसलिए कि वो उनके लिए मुफीद लोग थे, उनके काम आते थे। वो जो गोबर वगैरह से उनकी खाद बनती थी, उनके खेतों उनके यहाँ वो दूध मुहैया करते थे। अब वो लोग रफ्ता रफ्ता उस इलाके में आबाद होने लगे हैं। तो एक तो तजुर्बा हमारा ये है कि 1947 में मुसलमान वहाँ से जा रहे हैं, अपनी जायदाद छोड़ के, अपनी मस्जिदें छोड़ के, अपने मकबरे, अपनी दरगाहें छोड़ के। अब एक ये ज़माना है कि सन 1970-75 के बाद और ख़ास तौर से 1980 के बाद मुसलमान फिर से वहाँ आ रहे हैं और आबाद हो रहे हैं। और जब ऐसा होता है किसी भी समाज में तो नए रिश्ते बनते हैं और हर रिश्ते में कन्फ्लिक्ट जन्म लेते हैं। मसला ये है कि हम उन मसाइल को कैसे हल करते हैं।
It's a search for equality, not in terms of status or opportunity, but equality of service to others. And it's based on a recognition that human beings are equal not in what we have, but in what we owe. Not in terms of what we possess, but in terms of what we don't possess. We are equally incomplete. And this is a statement that can be made about two traditions which are different.
In situations where differences create conflict, we find participation helps to ease the situation. At Guru Ki Masjid, in the course of a dialogue between Baba Kirtan Singh and the Punjab Waqf Board, a common space seems to have emerged.
महाराज ने प्रकाश किया वा
हाँ जी
फिर अहाँ जो कब्जा किया वो प्रकाश किया है
ठीक है जी
उन्होंने कोई लोड़ नहीं भी उन्होंने गुरुद्वारा बना लिए
नहीं जी नहीं
खुदा मस्जिद की बुनियाद पूरी कर देनी
ठीक है जी।
जो बात हम लोगों के दरमियान तय हुई वो ये कि मैंने उनसे कहा कि देखिए आपके गुरु ने मुसलमानों को मस्जिद की शक्ल में एक तोहफा दिया है तो उसकी हिफाजत की जिम्मेदारी आप ही की है। हम पंजाब वक्फ बोर्ड की तरफ से उसमें कोई चौकीदार या केयर टेकर नहीं भेजेंगे, आपकी जिम्मेदारी है कि आप इस मस्जिद की हिफाजत करें। और उन्होंने कहा कि हाँ हम हिफाजत करेंगे। हमने उनसे कहा कि आप इसको मस्जिद की शक्ल में ही बरकरार रखेंगे, कोई भी आता जाता मुसलमान इसमें नमाज पढ़ लेगा, लेकिन इसमें कोई और काम नहीं होगा। वो बखुशी इस पे राजी हो गए।
जब सतनाम सत
ਸਤਨਾਮ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਜੀ ਜਪੋ ਸਤਨਾਮ 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 ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਜੀ ਜਪੋ ਸਤਨਾਮ 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 ਜੀ
Lime is an environment-friendly. What is very unique about lime is that it is a self-healing material. That is, in case of masonry, where lime has been used, if a crack develops, it continues to carbonate and kind of gets its strength back. And the other very great advantage of lime is that in case of moisture penetrating into the building or dampness happening, lime allows that the walls to kind of dry out. So you can actually say that the material actually breathes and allows the building to breathe. And it's been used from time immemorial, from the dawn of civilization, like the Greeks used it, the Romans used it. The Indus Valley civilization, you find lime, and so it had relevance in the past, and it continues to be a relevant material even today.